Former special counsel Robert Mueller will in fact testify before two House committees on July 17th. Mark it on your calendar. It was revealed in a letter last night that Mueller agreed to testify publicly in response to subpoenas by the House Intelligence and Judiciary committees.
Think it's going to be a media circus?
I don't know.
Yeah, right. His highly anticipated testimony will take place almost exactly 4 months to the day of the public release of his report on Russian meddling in the 2016 election. The president responded last night with a two-word tweet. Seen it before. Presidential harassment. Nancy Cordes is on Capitol Hill with reaction.
He was very reluctant to testify, and it was necessary to issue a subpoena, but he has agreed to comply with it.
Mueller had made no secret of his reluctance to testify. He said he preferred to let his 400-page report speak for itself.
I would not provide information beyond that which is already public in any appearance before Congress.
In their new joint letter to Mueller, House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler and House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff said they would work with Mueller to address legitimate concerns about preserving the integrity of his work. Democrats want to ask him about the 10 ways the report says the president tried to interfere with the investigation.
If we had had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so.
They also want to know why Mueller stopped short of recommending Mr. Trump be charged with obstruction of justice. Another topic expected to come up is Mueller's letter to Attorney General William Barr, in which he complained that Barr did not fully capture the substance of his report.
The letter's a bit snitty, and I think it was probably written by one of his staff people.
In an exclusive interview last month, Barr told Jan Crawford he wouldn't object to Mueller testifying.
As I said, it's up to Bob, but I think the line he's drawing, which is that he's going to stick to what he said in the report, is the proper line for any department official.
CBS News has learned that the White House will not try to block or limit Mueller's testimony. And the president's attorney hopes Republicans take the opportunity to question the credibility of Mueller's team. Some Republicans have questioned the need to hear from Mueller at all.
It is case closed for me, so they can do anything they want to in the House, and I think it'll blow up in their face.
All right, Nancy Cordes is joining us now from Capitol Hill. So, Nancy, as you know, Robert Mueller had previously said he would prefer not to testify because it would, quote, not go beyond our report. That's what he didn't want to do.
Right.
He didn't want to go beyond the report.
Said everything. We laid it all out.
I laid it all out. This is what I have to say. So do we expect his testimony to be any different from his report? I think Robbie Mook, who ran Hillary Clinton's campaign, told us at one point that even if he just read the report, that would still have an impact on the American people.
Right. Democrats think that there is a public relations win for them in Mueller simply appearing and answering questions all day long before two committees, even if he doesn't say anything new. They think that most Americans haven't read the Mueller report, haven't absorbed some of Mueller's findings, and they think that having a neutral arbiter like Robert Mueller, someone who is independent, doesn't come down on either side, sitting there talking about things like obstruction of justice and the president trying to interfere repeatedly with Mueller's investigation. They think that that's something that will move the needle of public opinion, even if there aren't any new bombshells. And for Democrats who are trying to build a public case, possibly for impeachment proceedings, something like this, they think, could have the effect of changing some minds, of getting some Americans off the fence.
All right, so we have the Judicial Committee, we have the Intel Committee, and then we have the Republicans on both committees. Right. What do we expect each committee to focus on, and what do we expect the Republicans to focus on?
Well, some logistics first. You've got these two committees. He's going to testify back to back. Between the two committees, you're talking about roughly 65 lawmakers all getting about 5 minutes to question Robert Mueller. So pack your thermos of coffee, pop the popcorn. It's going to be a long and fascinating day on July 17th. The Intelligence Committee Democrats are going to want to drill down on all these contacts that Mueller laid out in his report between the Trump campaign and Russian officials, Russian oligarchs, and the like. The Democrats are going to want to know, okay, even if you didn't find that there was collusion, don't you think it is unusual that this campaign had so much contact with the Russians, who we later discovered actively worked to influence the campaign? What do you think that was about? Did you have trouble getting your hands on the evidence that you wanted in order to build your case, and on and on? In the Judiciary Committee, Democrats are trying to build a case there that the president obstructed justice. And so their questions are going to be much more targeted towards the actions that the president took to try to interfere with the investigation. Things like asking the White House Chief Counsel Don McGahn to get rid of Mueller, asking Jeff Sessions, a former attorney general, to unrecuse himself, things like that. And they're going to want to know why Mueller, at the end of the day, didn't go ahead and recommend obstruction of justice charges. They're going to try to lean on him to get him to acknowledge that you could consider all of these instances, when you look at them all together, as a possible indication that the president obstructed justice, which is the case that these House Democrats are trying to make.
Nancy, before we go, one of the things that I'm fascinated by is the fact that for a lot of Americans, Robert Mueller remains sort of this elusive, mysterious character. To a lot of Americans, he seems very taciturn. And so when you think about the Republicans who generally, when they are going after someone who's testifying, who Democrats see as somehow an ally in their mission to make a case, they attack the person's credibility, they attack the people around him. I wonder if, Robert Mueller is a war hero. He's served this country with distinction for many, many years. Are you hearing from Republicans that they plan to attack his credibility, or perhaps those on his team?
Well, they are the 12 angry Democrats that the president talks
the Hillary
all
Clinton
about.
supporters.
Right.
The president says they're all Hillary Clinton supporters.
Who are not necessarily all Democrats, but that has been a popular line of the president's. Republicans are certainly aware that Mueller is viewed by and large as a neutral figure, and that there are risks to attacking him. But that doesn't mean that they can't ask him things like, how did you choose who was going to be on your team? Were you concerned about adding lawyers to your team who had had a history of donating to Democrats? Why did you, decide that the president and his campaign did not collude with the Russians? Doesn't that mean that this is case closed? So they can make a lot of headway along those lines, making their case without coming right out and attacking Mueller himself.
All right, Nancy Cordes first on the Hill. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.